It's eggy, it's cheesy, it's full of vegetable, full of nutrition, and it's so satisfying. I'm going to show you how to make, this was a quiche, but I've just destroyed it and it's delicious. Okay guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Sam Kitchen. My name is Sam Lin. I am a home cook who's really passionate about sustainability and, more importantly, save money by making things at home, and hopefully I can be helping you guys do the same in your own kitchen as well. So last week we covered off how to make pie crust at home. It's super simple, anyone can do it, and the ingredient list is super short. And with our pie crust, this week we're going to make some quiche. So I think broccoli is in season at the moment. I have been able to get boxes, give me 2 seconds, literally boxes of broccoli for about $3, and that is about 12, 15, 16 broccolis in one box. And I'm like, why not? I'm going to eat broccoli and find ways to use broccoli. So I'm going to be using broccoli just because currently it's really cheap, but obviously you can substitute this with capsicum and any other vegetables that makes sense to go into quiche. So that is what we're going to do today. Making a quiche, it's perfect for meal prep, that you can make a quiche. You can make a quiche on the weekend and then have it throughout the week. They last really well in the fridge. Or alternatively, it's also super easy. Make a quiche and then you can feed the whole family. Before we jump into the recipe, if you can smash the like button down below right here, that would really help out with my channel and my videos. The idea of this channel is really promoting the sustainability ideas and promoting that frugality idea to help out everyday people to start thinking about budgeting, to start thinking about how to be more sustainable and leaving less footprint on our planet when you are just going about your day to day. That's enough from me, and let's get cooking. So this is a continuation of last week's video where I showed you guys how to make some really easy pie crust at home. Feel free to pause the video now to go through the pie crust video if you haven't already. While the crust is baking in the oven, I'm going to prep our fillings for our quiche. To start with, we can't really make quiche without eggs. Next, a lot of recipes call for milk or cream. To keep our food costs down, milk powder is a great alternative with much longer shelf life. And obviously, just some water to mix in with our milk powder. Next component is our vegetables. I'm using broccoli as it is in season right now. Other great alternatives are like zucchini, capsicum, or leek. Last but not the least, we want some cheese. I've got some tasty cheese, once again, just to keep the cost down. Some cottage cheese is also a really good alternative. We'll put these aside and crack on, because we're going to crack some eggs. Sorry, that's horrible. We'll start with our vegetables here. As always, make sure to compost your food scrap. As we're entering summer here in Brisbane, not having food waste in your bin will reduce the frequency you need to empty the bin. With broccolis, the lower end of the stem tends to be tougher and not so pleasant to eat, so we'll just be cutting about 1 centimeter off. Into the compost it goes. The rest of the stem is perfectly edible, so make sure you don't toss it. With the top end of the broccoli, we'll cut it into bite size. Same thing applies to, say, capsicum or zucchini. The veggies will cook in the egg, but you don't want it to be too chunky. Give it a good choppy chop and set them aside in a bowl for now. Broccoli stem can be slightly tough, and that is mostly the skin towards the bottom. All we need to do is grab a peeler and peel off the bottom half of the skin. The core of the stem is perfectly delicious and nutritious at the same time. Skin into the compost, and we'll cut the stem into slices and then into smaller bite size. Same as the top of the broccoli, into the bowl as well. Next, I decided to add in some onion for extra flavor and sweetness. I have been buying mainly the second vegetables that might have been damaged during the transportation or simply are not as pretty as they could have been. It's a perfect way to save money, and even with a slightly damaged/rotting bit, just cut it off and no biggie. The ugly part is probably 5% of the entire onion, and the rest of the 95% is still perfectly edible. We'll cut the onion in half and use this method that I learned from Gordon Ramsay to dice onion. Cut the onion in thin strips without cutting it all the way through and leave it attached towards the root. And then turn the onion 90 degrees to thinly slice it. Onion into the bowl. Next, we'll just give the veggies a good toss to combine it. Next, our veggies are all done. We'll move on to the eggs. Crack those eggs in. A little tip on how to crack eggs with one hand is to crack it on the rim of the bowl or on a sharp edge to form a linear crack where you want to separate the shell in half. Cracking on a flat surface will get you an unpredictable crack line, which makes it harder to do with one hand. Once eggs are all cracked, give it a rough whisk just to break it up a bit. Next, with 3 eggs, I'm aiming for about 150 grams of milk. So I'm adding about 40 grams of milk powder with about 110 grams of water. Give it a good mixing. Don't stress too much if the milk powder doesn't dissolve right away. Obviously, you can use warm water to dissolve it, but I found that milk powder actually hydrates okay, and you'll get cooked in the same mixture anyway, so I wouldn't stress too much about it. Last but not the least, we'll grate some cheese to go into our quiche. Local cheese is about $1.50 cheaper per kilo than pre-grated cheese. All you need is a box grater that costs $3 from IKEA, and you'll make your money back after 2 kilos, and the rest is all profit. Now, we've got our eggs, veggies, and cheese ready to go. All is left is assembly. We've got our pie crust ready to go. First, we load it up with our veggies. And generously spread on our cheese. Did I say generously? Season it with salt and pepper. And then our eggs mixture. Always finish up with a spatula. We'll leave no waste behind. I then press the veggies down a bit to make sure all is going to be incorporated in our egg mixture. Last thing to do is to cook it in a preheated oven at 180 degrees for about 20 to 30 minutes. Depending on the thickness of your egg, you might need more or less time. Best way to tell is to stick a knife in. If it comes out clean, that means all is cooked. I pull the quiche out after about 30 minutes to make sure the top is golden brown. Just look at the jiggle. To make sure the quiche base doesn't get soggy, I flip it out of the pan and then onto the cooling rack. Make sure you give your quiche at least 10 minutes to cool down and settle in before you cut it. The cost breakdown is as below. 3 eggs at $2 per dozen equals to 50 cents. 50 grams of milk powder at $7.50 a kilo equals to 37.5 cents. 1 stem of broccoli is about 25 cents. Half an onion is about 10 cents. Altogether, the quiche costed us $1.22.5 cents to make. That is enough to feed a person for 3 days. Don't pay $5 to $15 for something that is so simple to make at home. Alright, and there we have it. That is our quiche done. The eggy, the cheesy kind of mixture holding all of the vegetables that we put into our quiche. You don't have to use broccoli. The soul and the center of this is really to be able to substitute and use whatever vegetables is in season, and that will also really help reduce your everyday food cost. And the pie crust that we made from last episode really holds it in really well. I am going to dig in and let you know how it tastes like. It's so light, but also just so satisfying. It's a perfect dish for any season of the year. I don't know how to explain. Sometimes you have something that's good for summer but not so much for winter, but I can eat this all year round. The amount of vegetables to go in there is up to your personal preferences. The more vegetables you add in, it will kind of fall apart a little bit, like this one I have here, but it's light, it's nutritious, and it's perfect to me. So I'm going to keep eating my quiche, and thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your support. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like and consider subscribing. I put out a new video on a weekly basis. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.